4 into 1 line just by doing something. So we will discuss on those things as well. Give me a minute. I'll share my screen. I also gave all the classes, all the files which we created, and documentation part and everything with the team yesterday as well. I reminded them to share it with you guys. So maybe I hope you got it, or if you okay, yeah. So all the files which I created, all the topics which we discussed will be in the name of the file. So every file name will describe the topic which we discussed, sets list, variables, and everything. So I hope that would be helpful. So before we move on to operators, if you have any questions on dictionaries which we discussed yesterday, you can let me know on the chat, or else we will go forward and check on operators. And also let me know if you can see my screen. I just shared my screen. If you can see my screen, so we'll go forward. Okay, I guess there are no questions. So we'll quickly move on to operators and all the operators which are there and which we can discuss today. So there are multiple types of operators are there in Python. We have arithmetic operators, which will, I think I'm bad at it's ARTH or something. So we have operators called arithmetic operators, which will do the basic operations. Like we'll create a variable of, we'll create smaller numbers, maybe 5 and 3. So this is the operator which everybody knows. 5 plus 3 instead A plus B. So this is a plus operator which will add these two values, 5 plus 3, it's going to return in the same way. Here you can see on the operator which we used is plus. So on adding 5 plus 3, it's going to return 8. So this is one of arithmetic operation. So we will declare this one. In the same way, we have also minus. Is 5 minus 3, which is 2. So addition. So we won't add it. So we'll do it in this way as well. So operator, which is we are trying to do is minus, and a minus b is 5 of 3. And in the same way, we also have multiplication where 5 into 3. Here you can see 15. So in our usual mathematic terms, we use cross mark, something like this for multiplication. But in programming, we use star for all the multiplication we do. So a star b, which is a multiplication of b, and 5 into 3. And we also have division. So here we have, as it's not exact division, so it's giving some decimals numbers that you are getting a division of B of 1.66666 and so on. So it gonna restrict at 1 point and give you 7. So these are the main operators which we use on most of our programs. And in the same way, if you parallel, if you have any questions, add it on the chat. So here we see that right now the value of A slash B slash basically means the division which we are doing over here. So A division B is giving you some n number of decimals also. So if you want to restrict that particular division, you can use some float value. So let's suppose division is A by B, which we did. So here in the same way, so before that, maybe we'll discuss about modulus which we have. So right now we are getting 1.666 is the division value which we are trying to get. And if you want to get the remainder part of it, so right now you'll be having some remainder every time you use it. So if you want to find remainder of it, so 5 divided by 3, which is this. So here you can see 2 is what the remainder is, that which we are trying to find. 3 goes one time, which 3, and we have 2 which is over left. So 2 is the remainder over here. So if you are not doing any point calculation, decimal calculation, so 2 is the value which we are seeing over here. So if you want to get the decimal values of any number, remainder values of any number of any calculation, you can do it in this way. So in this program, so this will help you to solve whether if any number is even or not in a easier manner. So let's suppose if you are and here we are trying to find modulus of, let's suppose 10. I'm trying to find whether 10 is even or not. So here I'm trying to find the remainder part of it, if there is any remainder. So here there is no remainder. So that means the value which we are getting over here, which we are trying to find the division part and whether if it's even or not, is even, because we are getting 0 as remainder. So in the same way, if we try to do like this, here we get 1, which is remainder, not 0. So either you get 1 or either you get 0 when you are trying to divide it by 2. So this will be easier to find whether uh, the number is even or not. If you are getting 0, then it's even. If you are not getting 0, then it's odd. So this is how you can solve the entire program in one step. So using modulus. And same way. So here we will slash with 2 decimals. So here we have division, and this is a format which we can mention that how many values which we needed. So let's suppose I want only 3 decimals inside it. So I'm going to mention that I just need only 3 decimals out of all the values. So right now you can see that 1667, which we have only 3 decimals. So this is how you basically use operators. These are the basic operators which we most commonly use. I think there is one more operator which we can discuss is exponential, which is of powers, and so I want to find 2 cube. So if I want to find 2 cube, you can directly mention star star. So we'll go with AB itself. So A of B, here you can see value of 125. It basically means that if star star 3, this means like this. So this is how you find square. So 5 square or 5 cube or 5 whatever it is. So how to multiple lines. So if you want to comment line by line separately, you can do it in this way. And if you want to comment the entire part of code of it, instead of doing this, you can use single quotes or double quotes like this. Like this, maybe you can use also double quotes. If you want to comment multiple lines, you can do like this. And if you want to comment line by line, which I'm doing right now, that instead of doing like this, I'll do like this, because if I want to comment only this one particular line, I can directly remove the star hash which I have. So this will be uncommented. But when you are doing in this way, you need to rewrite the code again. That again you need to cut this and put it here and things, because everything which is there inside this part will be commented completely. So for now, if you want to use hashes, which will be easier for you to comment and uncomment and try to do things. Okay, so these are the main operators which we use to do few of the things while adding multiplication, division, or any of the variables. So this will help us to solve some smaller parts of programs. And in the same way, there is one more parameter, I think, which operator which I missed. Is this? So let's suppose I'm doing I of 3, and here you can see which is 1. It will basically, instead of division which we are trying to do is 1.667. So this operator will give you the floor value. So we have few notations called floor and seal. We have floor and seal. Floor basically means we have 2 and 1. So any value which is in between 3, 4, 5, which is like this, and we want to find floor of it. So floor of 1.345 is 1, and seal of 1.345 is 2. So we can do in that way. So if you don't want decimals at all, So I just want that multiplication part, that division which is happening. You can use double slash, which will give you the floor value of it. So here the floor value of this one is 1, because it remove all the 666, all the things which is there in the decimal part, you're gonna remove and it will give you that one value which is floor of it. And this is 1.345, and if you are trying to find seal of it, it's gonna give you 2. And in the same way we have round off. Round off will basically will do automation, automatic conversion part. So it will have a bridge to 0.5, not just 1. So it will have a bridge to 0.5, and it will find out if all the values which are there below 0.5, it's gonna give 1 as a value. And in the same way, all the values which are there above the 0.5, it's gonna return 2. There is one package which so here I think it's already auto imported. There's a package called math. So math will basically help us to do these kind of things. So instead of importing like this, I'm importing math itself, which is a package which is there in Python. So if you want to print a/b, which we are trying to do the part. We don't have round off on math, but on math we have seal and floor. So basically here we are trying to find for these two numbers. If we are getting 1.666 up to 7, whatever it is. So here the seal part of a/b, which is 6.7, and if you are trying to get the seal value, which is 5, I'll run it again. Before it was something else. Okay, so here we got the output of 1.667, and it will find the seal value of 1.667, and which is 2. Here we did 5 division of 3. So every value which is there in between that 2 and 1. So right now we go 1.66. So if you are trying to find seal of it, so seal basically means the next integer value of 1.66. So 1.66 next integer value will be 2. And in the same way, if you are trying to find floor of it, floor will basically return the previous integer which is happened. So if you are trying to do floor of it, not seal. So here you can see the floor of 1.66 is 1. So this would be little easier to understand that seal basically means which you are trying to do in a basic terms, that roof of your room, or seal floor basically means the bottom part. Seal basically means the top part. So when you are trying to find the seal, it's gonna return the top value, which is the next integer which is gonna come up, and floor value which will return same way. In the same way, which have round off. Round off basically will do to the nearest closest integer. So any value which is below 1.5, it's gonna round off to floor of it, which is below, and any value which is above 1.5 equal to and above 1.5, it's gonna return seal of it. So right now the round if 2 because it's above 1.5 right now, the value which is a divided by is 1.66 whatever it is. So that's why trying to give something like that. Maybe if you try to do, and here you can see 3 because for 10 by 3 we'll be getting 3.333. So when we are trying to find the round of it, it will be 3 instead of 4 because it's less than 0.5 part of division which it is. So that's how this round of seal and floor will work. Same way the double slash which you are trying to use, it's gonna find you the floor value of the division. So here the value of division of 5 by 3 which is 1.6 something, and it's gonna return the floor value which is 1. So here we can see 1. So these are the basic operators which we use most often. It's easy to remember even. So these four are the common things which we most of the time we use it. And here we have double slashes and percentages which you might to remember. And this one example which I'm showing. So this is also one more parameter which we use to find square roots of any value. So 5 power 3, it's gonna do 5 into 5 into 5, which is 125, things like that. And we have floor seals and all things. So here, based on this one, you can modulus of 2, it's gonna return you the remainder part of it, whether if you have any remainder or not. So if you don't have any remainder, it's basically divided by 2, which is even. And if there is any remainder, you can know that the value which you're trying to get is odd. So these are the arithmetic operators. And in the same way, we'll move forward and discuss few other ones. Before that, if you have any questions on arithmetic operators, maybe you can let me know on the chat. So we will discuss before going forward. I guess there are no questions, so we'll move forward and discuss a few more operators, which are logical operators. Logical operators basically means all the things we have like less than and greater than logical things which you are trying to find. So here we are trying to find if 5 less than 3 or not. And here you are trying to print and you're going to get false because 5 is greater than 3. So these are the logical operators which will return you booleans. This means 5 is greater than 3, which will return you true. So greater than and less than are the most common things which you use in your programmings, because every time you iterate it, you have to use less than, greater than. You need to understand till where you have to go and loop it. So these are few common things on logical operators. And we have few more. So let's suppose there's one more thing called and. So here I'm trying to find A and 3. So here you are getting when you are trying to find A and 3, it's gonna trying to find the value which is of the last evaluation, which is basically done. And in the same way, when you are trying to find based on 0, and it's gonna return of the same thing. So and or you most of the situations use in the loops when you are trying to loop any information, right? So it will be useful in those situations. For an example, we'll do like this. We are trying to find phi less than 3 and phi greater than 3. We'll comment this part for now. So I think most of the PC people, they might have idea that how the conjunction works, that and or operators where we use on gates. So here you can see which is of false, because the value which we are trying to get over here is false, and here also here we are getting true. When we are trying to find or we are trying to use an AND operator, so the values which you are passing and which you are basically comparing, both should be of true. That's the logic behind how AND works. So you are passing the data which is to AND, both should be true. If you are doing any validations of such that, so right now we have only A and B values, and the same way if we have C and D also, and we need to find whether A greater than B and C greater than D, like that. So something we did here. So 5 less than 3, and so maybe instead of 3 we'll put 33. So in this situation it's gonna return true, because here we mentioned that 5 which is less than 33, which is true, and here 5 which is greater than 3, and both are true. So here we are successfully able to pass true and true to it. So there's one table which we use on gates, AND operator. Every value which you are trying to pass, let's suppose the values are A and B. A and B, which are the booleans which you are trying to pass in between, and so true and true, it's gonna return true. So we do follow these kind of things for AND. In the same way for OR, we have a little different. True and true false, because OR basically means whether any one of the operation value which you are trying to do is true or not. So if any one of the thing is true, it's gonna return true in the end. So here we are passing false and true to our operator, and it's gonna return true because any one of the value is true right now. So this we most of situation we use this and or in if conditions or any of the looping which you are trying to do. and even all the logical operators basically which we are trying to do over here, we'll use in loops or conditions. That we want to check two conditions. Instead of writing two for loops, two if conditions, we just write condition and one more condition like that. So this would be helpful. So I'll discuss this. How do we write condition after we quickly wrap on operator. So then we can discuss in detail about that. And in the same way, like how we have and or, we have one more operator which we can use is in. For in, if you want to we have, let's suppose, a list. We have a list of this many. Here we are trying to find if 2 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a list. If 2 is available in the entire list, it will return true because 2 is there. And if I try to remove 2, and it's returning false because 2 is not there inside it. So instead of uh, using loop and find out if using the entire array whether this particular value is there or not, we can use something like this in operator, and it gonna return that this particular data which we are trying to find is there inside that list or not. So these are the operators which we can use, and parallelly we have not as well. So here we are trying to print true, it will return true. But when we are trying to print not of true, which is meant, it's completely opposite of what's the execution which we got. So here we're getting false because the output which we are trying to see is true, and not of true basically means false. So this is how we manipulate booleans if we want to find out any few of the things. And in the same way we have double equal to also. Here we are trying to find if 5 and 3 both are equal or not, which is false. And we'll try to find 5 equal to 5, which is true. So this is also one more operator which we use in most of for loops and if condition. So these are all will return booleans which will uh, help to do the conditions which you are trying to do. That maybe if condition, if you are giving that if do this, if not do this. So inside that if condition, we use these kind of things, that and or in not equal to those operators. And here we wrote equal to, and in the same way we can write not equal to as well, whether basically not of this part, not of this part, which is equal to this. So 5 not equal to 5 will return false because both are equal right now. So in the same way, when you are trying to do 5 not equal to 3, which is true, it's gonna return true. So we'll do like that. So this is same as, and so here you can see which is not of double equal to, which is this one. Shorter format, we can directly write 5 not equal to 3. So here we are trying to find 5 equal to 3, which is false, and not of false, which is true. It's returned true over here. So this is how we how we do this logical operators. All the logical operators is going to return true or false booleans, which will help us to do some validations or condition based programming. We'll go line by line. I think this done. So 5 and 3 we are getting 3 wiser. So so every time you try in that way, it'll check for 5 and it'll do AND operator, and it's gonna check for whatever the value which you are trying to get over here, and it will return what is the parameter, what is the value which you are trying to find, which you are trying to put at the end of it, end of evaluation. So 5 and 3, it will return the value which is at the end, which is 3, which you are trying to do. In the same way, if you do in your way, it will happen in the same way. So there is no point of using 5 and 3 because what you are trying to do over here, there is nothing. So every time you want to do any Boolean evaluation, so you can do it in that way. And in the same way, if you want to do for OR as well, it will basically return if there is any one of the value which is true, the value which you are trying to pass over here is 5 and 3, 5 less than 33, and 5 greater than 3. So based on the table which I give you, so even the OR operator will work as well. You need to basically do it on booleans, on the conditions which you are trying to do. So what happens if you use only CL instead of math.c? So there is no method which we can use it as CL. We have to use an external package for it. So CL of 5/3 or something. We throw an error that CL is not defined at all. If you want this to be happen, you need to have this package or method which you are trying to do, which is defined somewhere. It's not defined anywhere. Maybe if you wanted to do directly use CL, you can import like this from math, which is a class which is defined somewhere else in the entire library. You can use something like this from math import CL, and here you can directly use CL. But here we don't have floor, so for those kind of things we can directly use like this. We can directly use like this, CL and floor, and we are trying to import CL and floor from math. So that's how we can use CL if you want to directly use CL instead of using math.cl by importing it. I hope that answered your question. So these are all the main things. So these are the main operators which we use. All the logical operators we use on if conditions, and all these operators we also use at multiple places, all the arithmetic operators. So if you have any questions on these two, we can discuss if you want to. Please let me know on the chat if you have any questions on arithmetic operators and logical operators which we discussed. If not, maybe we can go forward. So I think you can use not at multiple places, not just only at this. Maybe you can directly use not of and so the operator and operation which we are doing over here, not basically will give you the opposite of boolean. So if you get the output of true, not of true, which is false, it's gonna give in that way. And in the same way, we are trying to find 2 and 3, and parallelly you can find also 2 not in 3, 2 not in this list, which will also give you false because 2 is already there in 3. Not in 3, which is false, and remove from here till return you true, which is basically means that we are trying to check 2 not is not there inside this entire list, which will return true because 2 is not there in this entire list. So this is how we can use in and not in. I think these two won't come under logical operators. So we have one more thing called membership operators. So these are membership operators. So membership operator basically means whether the value which you are trying to find is a member of the particular thing which you are trying to search, whether 2 is a part of that particular list or not. If 2 is not part of that particular list or not. So in and not in will basically help us to find if there is any value which is present in the entire list. So this is how we can find out membership operators and other operators as well which are there above. Here I'll try to add things over here. Please also try it out from your side. Every operator which we are discussing, all the values which you are trying to do over here, I'm also adding it. Please also try it out from your side. Every value which you are, every integer, doing some valuation by dividing multiplication or finding remainder, seal, floor, and things. So if someone has any doubt on this one, so here we are trying to import math. Math is basically a library or the class which is defined in the entire Python library, and we directly we are using math from that particular library instead of using math. If you want, if I don't want to import every method which is there inside math, I just want to import only seal and floor. So in those situations, you can directly use this from math import seal and floor. So if not this one, you have to, if you want to use seal somewhere, you have to use it like this, math dot seal like that. So this can be easier way if you have only two methods which you are using from math, and you can use it in the entire program. Every method which you are trying to use it from any class, you can separate it by comma separation, and you use it accordingly. So I'll give 1 minute for you guys to try it parallelly. So these are arithmetic operators, and in the same way we have logical operators as well. So quickly try it out from your side, doing every part of it. I'll give some 2-3 minutes of time. Please make sure you try it and understand all the operators over here. If you have any questions, parallelly add it on the chat so that we can discuss it. So I guess there are no doubts which we need to discuss. So maybe we'll quickly go forward. So here the names of these operators will basically define what all it will have. So arithmetic operations or all the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all the operators which we do are arithmetic operations, and logical operations which are booleans which will return. We are trying to do some logic over here, whether greater than or less than and things. And in the same way, membership operator. So membership, the word basically defines whether some value is part of some set of data. So if 2 is a part of this or not, and things. In the same way, we have identity operators, which will help us to find whether if there is objects which is there inside two of the variables are same or not. So is and is not are the operators which we use. And here, let's suppose here we are trying to find 5 is 5 or not. So here you can see that the data which we are seeing here is 5, and which is comparing that 5 with 5. So which is true. And in the same way, we want to do something if 5 is not 5. It will basically return false because both are same, the content which is there inside it. And if you are trying to find 5 is not 15, which is true because these two are not same. And in the same way, here we declare list instead of the variables that integers which we created, which is 5 of 5. In the same way, we did list also. So when we try to run it, you're gonna get false because here we can see the content which is there in both the list are same, but how it's returning true for the above section, which we did for 5 is 5, and here it's returning false because if you see over here and 5 and the 5 which we try to store, the object information which is inside uh, where it's storing it gonna be same referred to same point of it. But for the list which you are trying to do, even if you are giving the same content inside it, 1 2 3 and 1 2 3, it won't have the same object value because even if you try to create same thing at multiple times, so we discuss the same thing on list as well. So 1 2 of 3 and y of 1 2 of 3 here. Here we are trying to find if x is 5 or not. So here we get false even if both are same because the data which is storing over here at some place which is not the same. Even the data which is same, the content is same, but the object value which consists of these particular data is not same. If you want to do the same thing accordingly, you see over here you're getting true because we are trying to put the content value over here inside, not the content, even the address part of it inside the y. So both the data will point to at some particular location, so the object value will be same. If you want to compare this with content only, I just want to compare only content. You don't use is. Instead of that, you can use double equal to, which we use here. 5 equal to 3. Here you can see true. Above you are returning false because you are having same content. So is won't compare the content. It will compare the part where exactly that where the information is stored, the object value of it. So double equal to will just compare the content, whether the content inside x and y is same or not. So that's why you are getting true. I'll share. Yes, so it's going to compare the references. So where exactly it's pointing to. When you are trying to use is, it won't compare the content, that whether 1 2 3 content is 1 2 3 or not. If you want to compare the content, we use double equal to. So in most of the situation, right, we use double equal to itself. So we rarely use is, unless you wanted to find out that if the information which is there inside y, the reference part also, is it the x or not. So if there is any rare condition which you need to check, we use is and is not and things. But most often we use double equal to, which to compare content. So we usually compare content only, whether if 5 equal to 3 or not, 5 equal to 5 or not, and things. We don't compare where exactly that location, where exactly is referencing. So this is of it. So I think there are no questions. So we have more on these operators. We will quickly move forward on those things. So we have assignment operators. So assignment operators is basically is this. So we are assigning some data to some variable. So whatever it can be. So these were the assignment parameters operators which we use. And if I just want to increase the value of x by 1. So here I can increase the value of x like this, which is basically means that you get the x value, it will add the 1, whatever the addition which you are trying to do, and return into the same value itself, which is x. So here you can see 2 and 3. So before it was 2 and we added one value to it and it became 3. So this is how you do it. This is not just only addition. Even you can do subtraction. You get 2 and 1 because you subtracted 1. In the same way, you can do multiplication. You will basically return 2 because 2 into 1 is 1 itself. And you can do division as well. 2.2. If you want just only lower part of it, which will return true, you can do double slashes. So this is how we do assign any data to it. If you want to assign something, and in the same way, if you want to increase something. So there is some shorter format which we can use these kind of things. Is equal to 1. So instead of writing this entire line x equal to x plus 1, so this is a shorter format which we can use x plus equal to 1, which will basically add it. I'll comment this part, and here you can see 2 and 3 x equal to 1, just a shorter format to use it. And in the same way you can use subtraction, multiplication, division. Same way double division over here is 2, which is gonna return floor value of it. So this is a shorter format to use it. After operating x. So here you can see that we got 2. We can do also multiplication. This 2 into 1 is 2. So this is how we can assign some data to it. So these are the most important things which we use in operator. And there is one more operator set of operations called bitwise operators. So before going to that, just make sure that you guys understand this. I'm going to give a minute for these three part of operators. Let's check it out, and maybe after 1 or 2 minutes we'll continue with the bitwise operators. Print 5 is 5, and so it gonna calculate in the same way that how which you mentioned at first, that true is of 10, and it will evaluate accordingly. Also have any other questions, please let me know on the chat so that we can discuss. So these three are the operators, maybe which you can check for now. So before we move on to bitwise operators, if you want to do any execution part of it. So we have one more operators which we do is bitwise operators. So this is something little uh, we cannot say tricky, but which you need to understand a little. Maybe you need to focus on a little. So here we are trying to find. There are multiple operators in bitwise. So let's suppose we have this, and we have this, and in the same way we have shifts like this. So most commonly we use these on bitwise operators, and these are nothing but or and and, or of bitwise, and of it, and this is of left shifts and this is of right shifts. So before going to that, I'll just write some sample of integers to binary conversion. Zero 100 and so this is one. Sorry, I start from 0. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is how we represent the integers which we see right now in binary format. 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when we are trying to do 5 of 3, so here you can see that we are trying to find 5 or 3. So which will, what will happen behind it when we are doing 5 or 3? So 5 is 0, 1, 0, 1, and 3 is 0, 0, 1, 1. So when you are trying to find or basically something which we learned over here, this is how we do it. So true of true, it will return true, and the same way true of false. If any one of the value is true, it will return true. Any one of false, it will return true. If both the values are false, it only in that case it will return false. In the same way, here also 0, 1, 0, 1, and 0, 0, 1, 1. So this will basically maybe give me 1 minute. I'll add my pad so that I can explain a little easier. So 1 second, let me open my annotator. Can you see my board? You added something. Means precedence is always from left to right. Yes. So all the execution which you are trying to do, it's gonna happen in left to right. Only operations like this will happen right to left. These like x into x plus 1 will happen in a right to left. Basically, you need to do the execution before assigning to something. So x plus 1 will happen, and we have also exponential power which you are trying to do. So this will also happen from right to left, where you need to get the count before and multiply it accordingly, that 5 to 5 to 5, things like that. So so 0, what's the value which we have for these two? 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 1. 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 1. So when you are trying to find the R of it, I'm giving it on a top. So here we are trying to find R of 1 of 1. So 1 of 1 R is basically 1 because we have 1 at one point. In the same way 0 of 1, which is like true and false, true or false, basically is true. In a notation we are giving as 1. And in the same way 0 and 1, which is also 1. And 0 and 0, which is 0. This is false or false, which is false. But if you have any of the one which is present in the evaluation which you are doing, it's going to return 1. So we got this after doing OR operation. When you are trying to check the same, zero one one one, because here we see that 1 1 1 and 0 1 1 and these things. And if you check the same, here you can see 0 1 1 1 is 7. This is what we got over here. So this is what will happen in the behind that 5 or 3 basically means that it's going to return 7, where it will do the OR operation.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
In the same way, you can do for AND operation as well. So for AND operation, we need to check if both the values which you are trying to compare is true or not. True basically means 1 in the terms which you are using it right now. So in those terms, 1 and 1, which is 1, and 0 of 1, which is 0, 1 on 0, which is 0, 0 of 0, which is 0. So this is what we got. So the value which is equal to this is 1. In the operation which we did over here, you can see the 0 0 0 1, which is this. So this is for OR. The same way if we do for AND. Here you got 1. So the same way which we discussed over here, that when we are trying to do bitwise operation and an OR of 1 of 1 value which we are trying to map. So this is how it's gonna end happen. So these are all AND and OR on bitwise. So before going to shifts, if you have any questions on this one, let me know on the chat. we can discuss about these. Any other questions on how do we match and convert into bitwise this binary data and then check it? So this is a standard format which we use at most of, I think, you EC people might have much more knowledge that why do we they also remember this, that how do we manipulate and do gates over here. You don't have any idea that how do we use and operators? So you didn't get any situation where in your course subjects? Yeah. Okay, so that's how. So in the same way, how do we do these things? You can do the other parameters as well, other operators as well. So you can also do XORs and other things. So in the same way, we'll quickly move on to shifts. So we have left shift and right shift and things like that. So we will discuss a little on shift also. So let's suppose we are trying to shift 5. Uh, we'll try to right shift first. So 5 right shift of 3 basically means that we need to shift the binary data which we have and shift to right side by 3. So if you remember, for 5 we have this 5 of 0, 1 and 1. So here you can see 5 is this. Oh, sorry, I think 5 is 0, 1, 0, 1. Sorry. So 5 is 0, 1 and 0, 1. So here I want to shift three right shift. So basically means that if you see that this is as the bridge line which we take, and here we need to shift 3 times to the right side. So when you are trying to do that, it will basically means I'll explain it here itself. So here I can type. So here I'm doing right shift of 3 times. So this is of the right side. So basically means I have to move every bits of this 5 to 3 times of right side. So initially it would be 0, 1, 0, 1, and we'll take a bridge of this one. So every time you do it, so maybe I'll denote this with this, let's suppose. And I'm trying to shift 1. So when I'm trying to shift, there is a space. I'm creating a space and 0, 1, 0, and after that it's gonna go. So this will vanish anyway. So we try to shift some value of 3 times of right side, and this value went off to right side, and we have only 0, 1, 0. So every value which is already went off, and we have to replace that with 0. And again one more shift we are doing 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and we do one more shift. Uh, which is 1. It won't be like this. It will be like 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, like that. So here we did 3 shifts. So after doing 3 shifts, so what's the value which we have here is 0, 0, 0. So everything is 0, which is mean 0 is the output which we will get. So here we try to do shift 3 times. Here you can see 0. So after shifting 3 times right side, we are going to get this. In the same way, we'll do left shift as well. here we are trying to do 3 times of left side, which is a left shift. And when we are trying to do that, 0, G, uh, 0, 1, 0, 1 is the initial value which we have. So we'll have this as a breakpoint or something, and we can based on. So we don't need a breakpoint over here because there is no data which is going to vanish after it. So every time the data which is going on the left side, it's going to increase the count of it, increase the integer value of it. So initially this would be this, and after we shift off one side, and it would be like this. And the empty value which we are having, I'm replacing that with 0. And in the same way, 0, 1, 0, 1, and this. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. So this is how we shifted 3 times in total. How many times we did? I think this is enough. So here we did shifted 3 times. So for the first time we shifted, we got 0 at the end, and second time we shifted, we got 2 zeros, and third time we shifted, we got 3 zeros. So this 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, which is equal to, we'll find out. I think it will be somewhere around 35 to 40. I don't exactly remember. Yeah, so it is 40. So the value which you see over here, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, which is 40. I didn't write all the paths, I just wrote till 7. So, but how this, that's how basically it would be. So maybe instead of doing do that, so we'll do 2 of 1. So that would be a little easier. So 2 is basically 0, 0, 1, 0. So 0, 0, 1, 0, and we are trying to shift by 1. 0, 1, 0, 0. So which is means 0, 1, 0, 0, which is of 4. So when we are doing, we'll shift off 2 with 1. Here you can see 4. Same value which we got after we did one shift, which is 4. And here we got 40 after doing I shift 3 times, and here we are doing 3 shifts, and here we are doing just 1 shift for 2. So this is how basically a shift works, that we have to shift some data to some part of segments, maybe left side or right side. So you might not get programming questions on these things, but maybe later on when you're trying to compete some bigger companies, so maybe you'll have a chance to solve these kind of problems. So they'll give you some tricky problems on binaries or conversion or things like that. So maybe that would be use case, where you can do all these kind of things. So this is how we do. These are the entire operators in total. How do we use it and things. So before going to any other things, we will. So if you have any questions, please ask me on shift or anything which we discussed right now. So this Python support triple zero fill operator. No, there is no such operator which will where it will use us 3 shifts, and I mean 3 greater than or less than which you are trying to do. So this how. Okay, so I think there are multiple things which can be in Java which is not there in Python. So, but usually This is how we can shift any information. If you want to shift the data in a binary format, so these we use. These are we call as bitwise operators. So these are the most common things which we use, and an or left shifts and right shifts. Okay, so quickly, if you have any questions, let me know. So before wrapping up, I just want to discuss few more smaller things. I guess there are no questions so far. If you have any questions on bitwise operators which we discuss, you can also let me know. And parallelly, we will discuss conditions, that if condition which we did discuss till now. So let's suppose x is 12 and y is 23. So I didn't discuss if condition because most of the logical operators which we did right now here, everything we use inside if conditions are this logical operator. So I need to explain the entire operators. So that's why I didn't discuss any of these if conditions and things. So here you can see we can write I want to check if f equal to y or not. And maybe on other programming languages, I think you will be doing something like this. It's equal to y and like this, and write something inside it. And even if you write from here, so there is no issue with it. But on Python, we have some syntax format which you need to follow. If x equal to y, which we are trying to do, both variables are same, and we have also else where we can write both values are not same. Use variables itself. So here you can see that both values are not same because we are trying to check for different values. When we change that to 12 and 12, so we can do the same thing, that both variables are same over here. Right now I'm using only one validation which we see. So in the same way, I have x and y, and maybe I also have a equal to 13 and b equal to 13. So I want to check both. I want to check x and y. I want to check a and b. So in this situation, we use AND. So I want to check if a and y equal to x and y same or not, and in the same way, a and b same or not. If both the things are same, then only I want to print that both variables are same, or else I don't want to print it. So here we can see that both variables are same because x and y are same and a and b are same. So here I added something. Both variables are not same because even if x and y are same, which is true, which is returning true over here, but a and b return false. But in AND operation which we do, right, we need both the things as true to pass that particular condition, which is not passing over here. So that's the main issue which is happening, and which is not going into that particular condition. And if in the same way, if you try to do OR, in this situation, it will try to find if any of the operation which you are trying to do is true or not. If any of the true, it will go inside it. Here you can see both variables are same, which it went inside. Means that if x and y both are same or a and b both are same, you can directly go inside and print it. So this is what basically will happen. So whenever you are trying to find if, you got it, it won't go inside else. It won't do validation, or it won't print any data which is inside else, because the basic uh, explanation here is that if this condition passes, go inside and do it. Else, go inside and do this. So instead of flower brackets, you need to use colon like this on Python. And after this, you cannot write like this, because we have something called indentation, which we discussed before, that every sub part of the code will go inside one tab space. So my tab space is here, you can see 4. 4 basically means 4 spaces. So 4 space of tab space is the indentation which I have. So you need to maintain indentation like this. So even after writing this one, you cannot go like this, because you're not following the same indentation. So wherever you started, you need to go till here only. So you need to come back. So now it's not throwing any here. You cannot see a red color one. In the same way, you don't need to have only 4 spaces, 4 tab spaces. You can have multiple like this, but every data which is there inside should follow one single line. Basically, the indentation of some space of data. So you need to give us that particular space. Instead of giving this much, we just give only one, which is little easier to understand. So this is how we do write if conditions. So in the same way, I want to split these two. I don't want to check in one condition itself. So in maybe you also tried from your side. Right now we are using only and an or and things. You can try equal to, not equal to this one, and not using not. How can we do it? Greater than or less than. So we are already using equal to. In the same way, you can use greater than or less than. So with greater than, you can also write equal to, which is means that we are trying to find greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So we can use such kind of validations here. And I don't want to do these things at one place. I want to on other programming languages we have else if, something like this. Based on some condition. So we usually have else if on other programming language, but on Python we have elif. Elif basically, which is means else if x greater than y, go inside and print this, that x is equal to y. And in the same way, here we'll do a less than b, a less than or equal to b, equal to b. And both condition fails. So here we are trying to print and we get x is greater than or equal to y, because 12 and 12 which we are passing. But if you do something like this, it will basically go into the second one, because here x is not greater than or equal to y, which is 12 is not greater than or equal to 122. So it failed, and again it will go to else if. So else if, as it went there, we'll check whether a is less than or equal to b. So 13 is less than 137. So it passes and it will print this. So when there is no information, there is no condition which is passes, and in that situation it will go to else, which you have over here after failing all the cases. Maybe If you are giving something like this, both condition fails. So this is how we write if conditions. So right now I'm giving only one few example that less than equal to, greater than equal to. You try from your side every operator which we did. You can use everything which we discussed over here. Is not, in, not in, and equal to, not equal to, not, or, and, less than, greater than, and everything. So you can do all those things and try to match based on condition, that whether uh, information which you are trying to match is feasible or not. So that's how we write condition based programming, that if this condition passes, do this, if not, do this. So that will basically help us to do some condition based of programming. Uh, the example which we discussed yesterday, previously, right? Whether if a number is even or not. So here I want to check. Let's suppose the data which I am trying to put, and 10 is the data which I want to check. So 10 mod 2, if data equal to 1. Or else, so here we will try to run this one. The number is even because 10 mod 2, which is 0, mod will basically return you the reminder. So there won't be reminder here because it's a divisible. 10 is divisible by 2, which is 5. So you can do in this way. So here we didn't write else if. We can write like this also, that equal to 0. I directly wrote else because this will return either 0 or 1, because every value which you are trying to divide by 2, it will return 0 or it will return 1 when we are not taking decimals. So that's why I just wrote when it's 0 or when it's 1. So that's the reason I mentioned in this way. But if you want, you can do it in this way as well. Converting number to this and this, and when you are trying to find modulus, you won't get any decimal values because you are trying to find a remainder which is remaining at the end of it. So the remainder would be over here is 0 and things like that. So this is how we do condition based programming. So if you have any questions on how do we use if condition and things, let me know on the chat. So I think we just have only 15 minutes. So if you want, if you have any questions in the entire class, including operators and if condition, how do we use it? So the usage of if condition is completely depend upon the logical operators and the entire operators which we see the entire day. So that's why I wanted to take everything in one class. I think so we were able to wrap it up. So this is how we write condition, multiple condition. Please try it out from your side. Everything which we did. So here you can also use this also, that if and if 5 shifting to 3, how much is it? It is 0. So here it says passes because the part of execution which you are trying to do over here is doing right shift of 3 times. So here we did right shift of 5 shifted to 3 times, which is 0. So that's why we compared with 0. So in the same way, you can do multiple things like that. Maybe you can use all the operators which we used, and or, and so this will basically return. So you cannot directly use these things in the if conditions. Instead, you can use these identity operators for is and is not, and membership operators. So these all will return Boolean. So that's the reason why you can directly use these, and you can use all these logical operators. And this arithmetic operation will basically do the calculation part, whether you want to add that 5 plus 2 is equal to 7 or not. You can do those kind of things. So this would be helpful in those situations, those kind of situations. So if you have any questions, add it on the chat. And this maybe I'll share the entire code later on, maybe at the end of this week. It's not good to share every file every day, and even if I have to create multiple things, so I can use it this way. But if you want to take a note of it, please take a note of it parallelly. It's also a little difficult to show you all the code at once. If you want, I can divide all those things into. So this is how we do all operations and writing if conditions and things. Let me know on the chat if you have any questions, or if you wanted to discuss, or if there is anything which you didn't understand. So right now I'm giving straightforward questions over here that uh, if 5 less than 3 or 5 greater than 3, or shifting these parameters and things. But in the test, I'll be giving some little complex ones, not just complex. I'll be having some multiple operations over here, 5 plus 2, 3 plus 5, and do things. And after matching everything, you need to print something over here. So you need to use if conditions in a better way to have multiple condition which you need to do. What's difference between sealed floor and round cell? Where did we do it? Yeah. So here you can see seal, floor, and round. So seal and floor are libraries which we imported from math. Math is one library. It's basically a class. It's not like a library. It's a class which has seal and floor as methods inside it. So we are using it. Instead of doing or programming it from our side, we are directly using something like this. So if you want to also create this particular seal or floor, you can also create it from your side. So which is basically that 2 greater than 2.5 and things like that. You can print the value should be 3 greater than or equal to. So not just 2, it's basically some variable information. If 2 greater than or equal to 2.5, return 3 or return 2. So this some I'm just giving you some reference. So this is how the method inside it would like something similar. So but in a different manner. But basically seal means if there is any value which is 1.6. So here we have 1.6. When we are trying to find seal of this 1.6. Seal basically means the next value, next integer which is going to come up. So next integer of 1.6 is 2, and the previous integer for 1.6 is 1. So 1.6 is basically in between 1 and 2. It didn't go till 2, it's not near 1. So it's somewhere in between. So when you're trying to find seal of 1.6, seal basically means the next integer which is coming up. So the next integer is 2. When you're trying to find seal, you will get 2 for 1.66. And in the same way, when you're trying to find floor basically means the bottom part. The previous value which you got, the previous integer 1.6 is 1. So you will get 1 when you are trying to find floor. And in the same way for round off. So round off basically means it will round off to any of the integer, either the below one or the above one, based on the value. So if the value is greater than or equal to 0.5, so it's right now it's greater than 4.5. So because it's 0.6, which is greater. When you're trying to round off, it will return 2 because the value is greater than 0.5. If the value is less than 0.5, it will return floor, which is 1. It will round off will basically round off to something, maybe to 1 or maybe 2. So if you purchase something outside, so if 99 is the value of it, they'll round off to 100 and take around 100 from you and few people. So something like that. They'll round off basically means to nearest value. So nearest value for 1.66 is 2, not 1, because 1 is not near. But when you are at the in between of it, 1.5, which is when you are trying to round off it, it will gonna return 2, which is the seal part of it. So that's how seal, floor, and round off will work. You can remember in basic terms that seal basically means the top part, the next part, next integer value. Floor basically means the bottom part, which is the previous integer value, and round off will round off to the closest integer. So those are the usage of seal, floor, and round. If you have any more questions, please let me know. So if you have any more questions on things which we discussed the entire class today, please let me know in the chat and we can discuss about things. If you have any questions, let me know on the chat so that we can discuss accordingly. But please try it out from your side that how do we use all these operators, or how do we use this if condition and pass those information inside it. So it will help you also to understand or to solve some little tricky problems. How do we use these conditions and things? That's all for today in the class, which we discussed on entire operators and how do we use if conditions and things. Even if you don't have any questions right now, maybe we can discuss on tomorrow class, but make sure you try it out from your side, that writing multiple condition, because it's little useful in situation where you're trying to write some bigger programs. You won't get every question straightforward like this. I think that's all for today. So I'm going to end this session, but if you have any questions, please, you can also take a note of it and we can discuss this tomorrow. That's all for today. Have a good day and let's meet tomorrow. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.